Good evening, folks. It's 2050 on the 7th day, 5th month, 2023. Yeah, it looks like on the TEDs you get quite a bit of action over here, the French Polynesian Islands out here. Yeah, I know, not many people living here in the middle of no islandville. Hey, but this tundra has definitely been impacting the top of these folks for far too long, and we got a secondary cut made in it. And so we've got another dive down of moisture occurring. And it's going to get gathered up to be used here coming up probably in about 8 days, 7-8 days, because a big blast has now occurred of EMF that I'm going to show you. It's made an arc, basically, of corridor of heated air that's going to guide what's coming around the Horn of South America here over Antarctica. And to come back over here and to impact Australia in this area here of the ocean, probably about 5 days, 4 or 5 days, depending upon these pressures here and how they move over Antarctica. And this phrase now that's coming up is that one from about 4 days ago from that great big ass beam then. Yes, here she coming out now to influence this storm here. It's going to actually stall stuff. You'll see as I move this along. And so without a further ado, I'm going to show you the doo-doo. And I've got to tell you, New Zealand, you are fucked. What's coming to impact you. I'm going to turn off some of the dramaticness of this, but you got to, I think the particle animation might be important here, so I'll do it a second time with just that. And the storm that just came through was not very electrical in my mind, but this one is going to be extremely electrical. So all the electrical phenomena associated with high electrics in a storm can be expected. Things like waterspouts, downbursts of storm, large hailstones, damaging lightning. And of course, tornadoes themselves. These are called tornadic conditions, or conditions that are highly electrical. Because a tornado is an electrical phenomenon. And the wind is just a side effect of it, vortices inside it. And when you start thinking about stuff like that, it helps your predictions of these type storms and the possibilities of the tornadoes themselves. So what's going to impact you is going to really, really hit hard coming here in about 30 hours. All right, you're really going to start feeling the big smacks. You're already starting to get the tailings of what's being pushed in front of this. But when this folds under and punches that there, and it's gonna take about tomorrow, well, 36 hours, 30 hours right in here. I think it was about 4 o'clock in the morning, my time, Tuesday. Yeah, I'm going to probably have to be up to watch this because I want to see them move. There's a beam they're missing. Right? They've done the one that's going to be needed for the storm that's coming here. Right, that's that big beam. I'm going to show it to you, of course. Yeah, but this is going to be a very dangerous moment. Right here, just about when the impact of this wake of this storm here smacks the main body of this island right here. And possibly an earthquake at that moment is height. Just from the dynamics of the inertia and things moving in a motion, and then something getting in its way to change its direction. And that force and stuff of all that momentum, of all those particles, and all that's going to collide with the dynamics of your island. And I'm a bit nervous about it. Because you have a lot of beams perturbing the atmosphere, creating the mantle, creating a lot of reverb. And without further ado, I got to show you this. And look at this beam sweat here. That came down. Right? Watch. I'm going to go into this. Right? What's concerning me a lot is in the northern hemisphere. In some of the countries this is intersected, including Turkey, which I'm very concerned about. So, big sweat came through here, right? You see the open gate here? She comes through. There's nowhere for it to go. That has to stop now. There's a brief stop, which will pull a big drag in a tundra, which tends to put a jerk in motion on it. It'll fold it right around. She's coming down. This moisture here can't go across yet. She has to come down over Antarctica. And the only gates for it to come out is right here. And it's gonna. That's a continual plan. And you gotta have this for 5 days later to have what you're gonna get. And we had this last week to create what you're gonna have now. But as it's intersecting the northern hemisphere here, I'm very, very concerned. For a few key places, as you can see, our facility is here. And the dimple is here. So one of them. There was many devices used in coordination with each other in places that I find odd. So as this come up through here, it intersects Turkey here. I've had a lot of waveforms come through here and here. It's possible Herculean will pop, but I'm looking toward Ankara. Anchor in the mountain region, right around here. Very, very bad for them, this. I'm also looking toward Izmir and that, because I've seen 5 or 6 smalls, but I ain't seen nothing in Cheshme hit yet. And Cheshme needs to hit. If it doesn't, your area to Izmir is a bit fucked south of Manisa. Down in that area there. So, Bubba, be careful. My family out there. Yep, Seni seviyorum. Takaya. It's heartbreaking when I look at these beams. And I know what they do. Right, and this is more than one beam. Right, I'm not kidding. Since it's all the way over that direction, I'm not going to cycle a few screens of this while it's up high. Because the controls are hard to get at when there's this magnification. Right, you see, you got separate beamings. It's emanation, 2 distinct stripes. If more than one is impacted, as I go to this one here, you'll see it very plain. The one over New Zealand's the, oh my God, you can't miss it. What's down here in this? It's the most obvious one of it. And it did impact you guys. Go back. I was jumping across the screen. I'll do my best. Alright, going back in time. You got a dot here. I'm nowhere else. Just tell me you got a ship. You got a ship here. These are all being worked in coordination. And I don't think it's all just one country. See, that's a ship. I don't say that's you over here, Blenheim. For once, I'm not looking at you. Because you're too busy beaming straight up here through a line here to make sure that storm doesn't come across. Told Swanito. Yep, that's pinning that. Or that would flow over. This would have nothing to bump into. Wait about 36 hours from now, 28 hours, right in here. This is bad. You have had quakes around these times. Yep. Do I blame them on it? Why'd you say it's a coincidence? It's something that needs to be looked into. It's very perplexing. The amount of stats favoring such a point of view, favorable for investigation. Oh, it's perplexing. Is worth doing. Here's a big blast there. Now that's another one going over the top of another beam. Right, so now we're back out here. We're in the ocean again. Emanation point right here. Off the coast, there's Hawaii right there. Hawaii's busy doing its own. I'm telling you, it's maneuvering stuff pulsing across here to make sure that goes over and towards the Japans. It's a big event. And I'll use this to understand where the high likelihood of earthquakes are and how the river of moisture is going to be manipulated. And this actually rivers it. Something bumps into that, dives south. Right? Here's your La Nina directing it down into the other hemisphere. That just gave it a name. But for a geoengineering move, they call it La Nina and La Nina. Right? And granted this and granted that, and here repeating, but it's just geoengineering and they gave it a name. And this is a move that does it. All that moving in one direction, hitting this heated outflow and all this. It's about 300 miles to 350 miles wide swath of microwaves. This water's going to be affected in there. And it's on for hours. See that pulse right there? In between the toe? Go right in between the toe. Your ship is here. A ship is here. And I read these like a hawk. You couldn't hide an army out here or navy doing stuff without me telling you where their ships were. Because their microwaves always leave a signature. It's right. They disturb the condensates of moisture. And therefore, the reflectivity back to the satellite is changed. And it shows up on the graph. That's right. And it's accurate. Then I watch when this goes away, how the moisture is totally different than what it was before that was there. And somebody was asking about that. Right, so this is important in your weather. Look at the pulse here pattern. What about the eyes of Moloch down there? Look at that. Bzz, bzz, pulse patterns, interferences, checkerboard squares, pulse, pulse, pulse. This isn't a CME. These are strategic microwave pulses or lasers, one or the other. And a laser is a form of radiation of a microwave spectrum of light. So therefore is also a microwave, EMF, from a laser or directed energy weapon. This is dual, and it's due to step. And then when you see the eyes of Moloch on a coronation day, over the pole of the planet, it bothers me because I know the symbology and what it means. So now I'm going to go look at what is there. I'll just leave those there just for the smell of it. Speaking of the smell of it, I bet that don't smell too nice going across the Tasman Sea here. It affected Vanuatu and the islands out here. Right, look at this fizzing off up here. All in one line, chem bombing up. That's not a naturally occurring cumulus cloud formations. Right, ain't the nice round puffies. These are just like somebody's been puffing something, breathing it out the window. From an emanation point. Pow, pow, more explosions and from this line. Look, backwards, from a line. Pow, pow, pow. Pew, 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 pew. Boom, 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 boom. From a line of chem. From a line of chem. See, it's not naturally occurring. Don't ever let them lie to you about that. I can lie to you about a lot of things, but this isn't a white lie, even though it's whiting out your entire sky. This is a grande, the El Grande lie, not even a La Nina, which would mean a small, and with an A would be feminine. Right? Are we allowed to have feminine pronouns now in Spanish, or is that gender took out their language out the window? I don't know. I'll wonder about this as the fadge goes by. Boom, 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 ba plume, then the plumes. Boom, 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 ba boom, boom. Boom. I say boo to the boom boom plumes, that's for sure. What do we got here? The Maltese Chris. Right over here, this get right off the coast of these Vanuatu Islands. Was that New Caledonia? Oh my God, you poor folks. These are chem bombs. Boom, 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 boom. And there's the Maltese Chris right there for your right in front of your eyes. The Maltese Chris, right here. See, boom, triangle, 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 triangle. Wasn't there? Now it is. Chem bomb plumes over a tropical island settling into the coconut. So you want that nice organic oil? Would you like a few extra chem with that? Heavy metal fan in my food? I am not. Heavy metal in my ears? I could definitely use a couple doses of that right now. Boom, 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 boom. Really, I mean, where can I go with this? Those are those nitty-gritty cities. Hey, Australia, got a bit of a Sanchez going on there and a funny face blood-looking thing. So, but other than that, it's just a whole big chem bomb seas fueling up what's going to hit you over the next 24 hours. And you're going to get some fairly decent totals, but, you know, New Zealand would trade with you anytime. Anytime, as you pick up about 4 centimeters in here. In some spots, 5, and some snows will begin to impact the high mountains over there, north, just to the south of I can't bear it, because I can't bear what goes on over there anymore. And it needs a washout over of the ton of DCs, sometimes too. What does DC stand for? Dem cunts? Washing dem cunts? It ain't even a state. It's like its own country, and the United States could do whatever it wants. It's autonomous, like the City of London or the Vatican. Or even King Charles is not allowed to go into the City of London itself, that 1 mile squared off area, without permission. And he is escorted in and out. There's laws. Yeah, Magna that Carta. They cut a king's head off down here once. Yep. But that all that gave us the noblemen's a whole lot of rights. And how are you feeling since that Magna Carta? You're probably feeling about like you were about Nuremberg. Somebody bent that paperclip and poked all of us with it. Look at these chem bombs here go across the center of the country. Look at this waveform come down and sit. That's the straight line of energy that's going to hold everything south of this line and all your tropical flow to the north. And make sure you get a bit droughted out down there. It's time to dry you out. They're gonna be, I can smell a fire season coming. They've already started out in California. What are you gonna do, volunteer all your drop water firefighting planes out there and then need them at home again? Remember when they did that? But when it comes to being numbnuts, politicians, yeah, they just never cease to astound me. And the new ways of stupidity that they will perform to the population that they sold the idea of this stupidity to begin with. See that bomb I'm looking at here? Do you see where I step? Boom, 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 in a curve over here. See it? It's a little gritty. I mean, so that fixes it a little bit. It's a chem bomb field, man. Whole field of bombs going on. Influencing your weather, just going on by. Chem on by. Boom, boom, boom. blue skies until they stop spraying us. Something's gonna die. And water and tears in my eyes looking at the skies. What a fucking shame. Sickness mix. What a bunch of shitness, sickness, politicness mix this is. Agenda much? Land grab much? Poison much? Rules much? Tell you what to do much? 10-minute neighborhoods, you can't drive down my road because I think my road's better than yours. Sit in front of some people's cars, you're going to get plowed over. That's going to teach a Karen to get out of my way on the way to work. Yeah, if I had a car, I step in front of that son of a bitch, say I can't go down a road in my city. I pay taxes to build because you live there, Karen. I've been watching people actually telling people they can't drive down their own roads and acting like they've never had an ass whooping before. You know, we're Generation X. We don't wait for you to fuck around for you to find out. It's find out time. It's find out time. Look what they're doing. Prove this. It's find out time. What are you going to do? Stick me in my room the rest of my life? They already done that. For 2 years and ain't done nothing wrong. I ought to have a get out of jail free card. Hell, every fucking one of us ought to have one of those. Because we already served the time and they're the ones that did the crime. And they're blaming it on you again. As they're poisoning up our oceans. As you're poisoning up crop growing areas and deserts, making them more deserted of populations of people because they flooded them out and their infrastructure is gone and the roads that even bring them their food is gone. There's this Casper the Friendly Kembam ghost over here with a big hook nose that gets bigger and bigger. There's a bunch of liars. I have my Imaginarium out here with the triple Kembam blast here. 666 right on his fucking head. Can't you make this shit up? You can't make this up. Like the Jordan Mr. Burrs had 360s on his head. Some people could, some didn't. Excellent. Are they burning Mr. Burns? Excellent. Well, you know what? I am so sick of their crimes in the sky. They are their sky crimes. The sky people, as I often see it said lately. They don't give a fuck about what you want as long as they're getting what they want. They'll railroad your ass to take away your fucking peace because they don't give a shit because somebody told them they're going to have a profit from doing something. I mean, maintenance, who's going to get that? What about the oil coming after those trays into the waters of and running into the ocean? You know, there's grease on them things. Lithium grease, usually. Yeah, well, what the fuck? When it comes to dumbing people down, they find new ways. What I'm doing here is watching this move here where they're putting out the punch to fold this. They're folding it now. I had to punch this over. And it's going to come hit you. And here's how many tendrils you get. 1, 2, 3, 4. And they're making it fit now. You guys are going to have a big, long, sustained event. And I'm going to show you what it's going to look like. It's going to be very, very electrical as this comes through across from Australia. Very, very electrical. Because of all those dynamics of chem that we're mixing on all the various levels of the atmosphere. You get tropics from here, you get Antarctica, you get some stuff that was driven from South America that was once here before. Gabriel's actually come back around to haunt you. Some of that moisture still in the air coming back around. Yep. And particles last up there a very long time if the frequency says do it. Sorry about that. That was a bit of a wildness. I didn't expect that. So as I'm going to go through this, using your time wisely, use your time wisely, use your time wisely. Now you're fucked, now you're fucked, now you're fucked. Right? And about that time there, the dynamics of it moving through there, that wind's going to be roaring a bit through there, and the lightning's absolutely going to start to kick off on the south, on the western side. And as it spreads across, your whole island's going to be an electric show. And this is at about 2 afternoon my time, pitch about midnight your time on, an hour into very early Wednesday morning. Your time is about lunchtime there. This is a fucking event. And the snows are going to come. And that's going to hit, and that's going to hit, and that's going to hit. And I'm so fucking tired of coming on here twice in a day and telling you guys you're fucked. Can I just come on here once and just say, yay? All I could do sometimes is say my forecast is still accurate. And the electrics on the back side of the storm is almost unusual. But what makes it make sense, hey, stuff like this. Adding the extra electrics to the atmosphere. Adding the extra electrics. A coordinated effort that took. That was many devices it took to do that worldwide beam. That was big. And all these dynamics of all this crap mixing. All this Antarctic stuff, all this stuff from here, and this tropical from here is all mixing in here. You got a lot of dynamics, lots of different dusts, silicas, statics, all that kind of stuff. You got farts mixed in here for how many different kinds of meals? Oh my God. No, seriously. It's not a good time for you guys on the 10th or the 11th, because this is a sustained event. It's going to fuck off rather quickly compared to some of your other ones. Right? About time you get to there Friday, you breathe for a minute. But then I got to tell you, you see this here? You see that there? You see this here? All the dynamics clearly state any storm could pull back at any time. The bubble up's right here. Right? An instant storm actually could form fairly there at any time with bubble ups like that. So I'm watching this very closely, because the storm that forms there suddenly will walk down like that. And it'll come in on a curve. Hey, so I'm going to be watching this very, very closely. Now, as we get through Saturday, she is forming, but she went to the right. A little curving out of there. Good. That's what I like to see. Now, it's going to be really high, man, over the Tasman Sea. Yep. There she sends another little squirt your way. And the coast of Australia, the northern Queensland and New South Wales is going to finally get a little relief, because their garden's getting a bit parched. Yeah, we got to have a little coastal road flood in action, because maybe they need some light rail there to kill a bunch of koala habitats and shit. But, you know, when it comes to paving paradise and putting up parking lots lately, our fucking oppressors are really, really callous about it. And they never even put the tree museum back up. What the fuck? A tree museum is a forest, growing natural and beautiful with animals in it. It ain't a place you gotta go, like a botanical garden is all you're gonna have left. And then whatever goes in there, it'll tell you, man. We'll be like, I remember those. Those are roses. Hey, remember that? That's grass. I'll tell you fucking what. Storms like that impacting like Taro that are coming up. They ain't no pleasant. Ain't so pleasant at all. How much is that dumping every 3 hours? Yeah, about 2 centimeters every 3 hours. You know, that's a bit of a gully washer along your stream. And your accumulations up here ain't the most friendly, I would say. Anybody warned you yet? The possibilities of a coastal cyclonic system working up is high. Anybody told you that all the dynamics yet for this to form is there? I caught it straight off. That's textbook. That's just textbook natural dynamics of a storm. So we'll do that. You guys got a bit of fuckery coming on the fights. So you got time, enjoy it, don't fret it. That's right. You be you. You be free, you be oneness, don't forget it. And no Plymouth again, it's just a constant total of high over there. Every time I look, it's over 10 centimeters of rain hitting the thumb and hitting here. You never want to live there. There are a couple of spots I'd never want to live in New Zealand. Here, or here. All the time here, fucked. Here, fuck, hey, I got an idea. I think this whole place is fucked, but that place is beautiful. And when they finally finish flooding out this and filling it with the silt, maybe then people could live back over here again. But I have a feeling some relocation offers are going to be sent out by the state, because they watch your house and what's underneath it. They know what's there. So you got an idea now what's going on? Did you see what your forecast is going to be? So just roll that skin right on back. Suck it up, buttercups. It's going to be a fucked up time. I gave you your forecast. Big love, peace.